Hi, I'm Quinn, and this is Open Awareness Yoga with 30 minutes of yoga for phone claws, which is just the shape of our hands that we often make, whether we're holding onto our cell phone or typing on a keypad, typing on a keypad, or even moving the mouse pad on a laptop or the mouse in your hand. You know, there's a lot of this sort of cramping thing going on. And so that can cause some issues with that repetitive, either repetitive stress or just when we hold our hands like this. So for today's class, you only need a chair, that's all. So you'll come to seated somewhere. And just to get started, come to the edge of your chair, uncross your legs and place your feet flat on the floor underneath your knees. Knees about hips width distance apart. And here, let's turn the palms facing in towards one another and the pinky side of the hand down on the legs. And let your elbows fall down towards the sides of your body. Close your eyes. And take a few deep breaths in and out through your nose. And feel your sitting bones grounding into whatever is beneath you. And if it's softer, it might be a little harder to feel. And point your tailbone straight down towards the ground. And as you play around with that cue, you might notice that your low back changes shape a little bit and adjusts. And there's a natural curve. And line your shoulders up right over your hips, which for many people is moving backwards slightly. And then bring your chin parallel to the earth. And just a few more breaths in and out here. Notice how your neck, shoulders, arms, wrists, and hands feel. And check in with your dominant hand. Check in with your non-dominant hand. Notice if there's a difference. And take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, drop your right ear down to your right shoulder. Inhale, bring it back up to center, move slow. Exhale, drop left ear over to left shoulder. And we'll move like this with the breath, inhaling through center and exhaling over. Soften both of your top shoulders down as you move in the side to side way. And by all means, if there's a place that feels like push up on the left side, then bring your head back to center, and we'll do the same thing forward and back. So you exhale to drop the chin down into the chest. Inhale to bring it back up. Exhale to lift the chin and drop the head back. Be really mindful of the movement of your neck. So you're not just flopping the head side to side, but see if you can really tune in deeply to your skull and the top vertebrae and the spine. And this time you'll finish by going down, chin to chest, and then coming back up to center. And we'll revolve the neck. So as you exhale, turn to look over your right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Exhale, left shoulder. Inhale back to center. And 2 more times, right and left. You might notice as you soften and move that you feel little clickings in the vertebrae, maybe even in the ear canal. Relax your jaw and your tongue. And finish up on the left side. Bring your head back to center. Here we'll make full circles. So right ear to right shoulder, round the chin to the chest, and continue all the way around. And if for whatever reason dropping your head back doesn't work for you today, you can just make semicircles, chin to chest, moving right and then left. Take 2 or 3 complete revolutions of the head, and when your chin gets to the chest, you'll change direction. Now chin to chest. Lift your head back to center. And lift the shoulders up to the ears. And slowly lower them back down to where they started. 2 more times. Lift the shoulders slowly up to the ears. Squeeze. And very slowly release. Notice if there's any judders or creakiness and try to smooth it out. Last time, lift. And release. Next, we're head back up, lift, and now roll the shoulders forward. Down, back. Move them up, forward, down, and back. 1 more time. And we'll change direction. Notice if there's any difference between the right and left sides. And if your neck is getting involved, try to relax the muscles of the neck. And last time you roll the shoulders down and back, stay. Nice. Now, bring your fingers to the sternum notch, so right at this little divot above your sternum, and then move them out to the right and left sides and feel the very inner end of your collarbones. Slide your fingers down the collarbones to find the acromion process at the very edge of the shoulders and pull the shoulders back. So you might do that a couple of times, sliding your fingers out along your collarbones and pulling the shoulders back. Now as you do this, as you pull the shoulders back, I want you to be mindful that you're not also pushing the low back in towards the belly. So try to drop that tailbone down towards the chair and reach the shoulders back without finding that arch, okay? Then we'll bring the hands behind the back, grab opposite elbows. If that doesn't work for you, you can grab wrists or bring knuckles together. And here, again, don't let the low back arch. Keep the tailbone pointing down, but keep energetically stretching your collarbones from inside out. So we're opening up across the chest, opening up the shoulder joint, and shake your head gently no. Release any tension in the neck. Let your lower jaw fall away from the top jaw and soften your lips, your tongue, and your throat. Take 1 more deep breath in here. And as you let it out, release your arms, shake them out. We have 1 more side. So bring the hands back behind you and put the other forearm on top. Or if your knuckles are together, it's just the same thing, repeating 1 more time. Again, move your collarbones from midline out to the outer edges of your shoulders. Point the tailbone down towards your chair, and then get the neck out of the equation. You might play around, tucking the chin to the chest or moving the head in space until it feels like there's something that works for you. And take 1 more deep breath here. And then shake it out and bring the hands back to the lap. Okay, take a look. Bring your right hand out in front of you, palm face up. Okay, and then take a look at your middle finger. Mentally or physically, draw a line from your middle finger straight up the center of the forearm, the center of the elbow pit, all the way up into what you feel is the very center of your arm joint. Okay, and the arm is straight out in front of you. I'm turning to the side so you can see me. Now imagine that's a pole moving down your arm from middle finger up to the arm joint. Rotate your arm around that pole. So the entire arm rotates in and rotates out, moving about that axis. Okay, so we're moving the whole arm as one big piece here. And sometimes you can get into trouble with the wrists by not finding any movement in the shoulders as we move about our daily life. Okay, 1 more time. Rotating about that axis, you'll feel your shoulders lifting and rolling in as you turn the palm down and dropping as you turn the palm up. Now take your hand, hold on to your lower humerus bone, so right above the elbow. Make sure that that's still. Elbow pit still facing up. And now just move the lower arm by turning the palm down and then turning the palm up. Okay, so we've got a lot of rotation here at this joint. And as you turn the palm down, the 2 bones on your lower arm actually cross over one another. And when you turn them apart, or when you turn the palm up, they move parallel. Okay, and then 1 more experiment. We won't go very far in this one. You'll hold down right below your wrist to keep your lower arm in place. And there's not much movement here, but you can a little bit turn just the hand in and out. So when you're moving the palm towards face down, that's called pronation. When you move the palm towards face up, that's called supination, just in case you're interested. All right, shake it out, roll your shoulder a couple times. That might have been kind of more work than you were expecting. And we'll do the second side. So bring your left arm up in front of you, palm face up, and then imagine that line from middle finger at the very center of the arm, center elbow and center shoulder joint, and then rotate your arm about that axis. So the whole arm moves, everything gets involved. Shoulder blade is moving along with the rest of the arm. Just a few times, exploring that movement. And then when you're ready, palm face up, hold on to right above the elbow and just rotate the lower arm and palm down and back up. Bones are crossing when the palm is facing down. Bones are parallel when the palm is facing up. And for fun, hold on right above the wrist and just rotate the hand tiny little bit. And shake it out. We'll massage through the forearm a bit here. So you'll take your 4 fingers and right beneath your elbow, find for the space between those parallel bones. All right? So actually, let's start like we did, like you're reaching out to shake somebody's hand. The pinky side of the thumb is down towards the ground. And then find the place between those 2 bones. Kind of dig your fingers in. It should feel good, shouldn't hurt. And strum that space up and down. So it might feel like you're going across a guitar string. Modulate your pressure so that this feels right for you. And you'll move your way down the arm towards the hand and maybe back up again. If you find a particularly tender spot or one that your body is saying, hey, hang out here for a little bit, do so. Maybe even quitting the strumming, just pressing gentle pressure into your muscles and taking a few breaths. And we'll move our way back up the arm if you haven't already. And then working more towards the inner arm, you'll make a pinchers with the heel of your hand and the 4 fingers, okay? And you'll pinch the medius part right underneath the elbow and kind of draw the skin up and then work your way down the arm. And of course, you can make up your own massage techniques, whatever works for you here. Okay, right, shake the hand out if it's getting tired. Last thing, you'll hold on to your wrist. So notice if you hold on to your wrist here, thumb on the inner wrist, one of your fingers on the outer wrist, you can actually flop your wrist around without actually using the muscles. So again, that like you're shaking somebody's hand, hold on to the wrist, try to relax the muscles in your forearm that you just massaged, and slowly move the wrist and flexion, which is the fingers coming towards the inner arm, and extension, which is the nails of the hands going towards the outer arm. All right, and then release that, shake the arm out, bring it to your lap. Just for a moment, close your eyes and take a few breaths, noticing any difference between the arm you just worked on, the wrist and the hand, and the one that has yet to have its massage. Okay, so like you're shaking hands, but with your left hand now, you'll take your right 4 fingers and find that space between the 2 bones of the lower arm and strum that guitar string. There's definitely some tender spots in my arm. And there I just pause, press in, and take a few breaths. You can work your way all the way down to the wrist. And all the way back up again. I'm kind of starting to feel relief all the way up into my shoulder. I don't know about you. Okay, and then when you're ready, you'll take your palm pinchers here, and with the heel of your hand, grab the medius part of your forearm and just give it a little massage, a little squeeze and pull, all the way down to your wrist. And then hand back in that shaking position. Put your thumb on the inner wrist, one of your fingers on the back, and try to relax the muscles of your forearm and use your thumb and finger to flex and extend the wrist. Okay. All right, as you can tell, we're working our way from neck down the shoulders to the forearms, and we finally sort of arrived here at the wrist. So next we'll make some space and the carpal tunnels. So interlace your fingers like so, and then turn the palms face down. Soften your top shoulders so we're not hiking up like this, but the shoulders are soft. And then you keep the fingers interlaced, but try to pull the elbows apart, and you'll traction a little bit of space open in the wrist. So the fingers are holding, so your hands don't move apart, the elbows draw apart, and you might even look down and see that there's some space that's created at the wrist, right at that joint, between the lower arm bones and the carpals. Take a few breaths. Soften your throat, soften your shoulders, and then release that. Shake it out gently. We'll do the same side, same thing, just with the palms face out away from you. And so soften the shoulders, and then pull the elbows apart so that you get some traction in the wrist. And take a few breaths. And release. Shake it out. All right, continuing with some stretch of the wrists. Bring your right arm straight in front of you. I'll turn to the side. Palm face down, then pull the fingers down towards the ground, and then take your left hand right at the root of the finger where the finger meets the palm and pull. And if this is too much flexion for you, if anything's too much, just back out a little. Don't go as far. Go to your edge where it feels like it's a beneficial work and not where it's pushing your body into pain. Soften the shoulders, so you'll notice even I have this tendency of lifting my shoulder up, so keep consciously dropping shoulder blade down the back without pulling it down. Okay, and then here, palm face down to the ground again. Lift the fingers up towards the sky, and then take your hands on your finger, your left hand on your finger, and pull them back towards your face. And breathe. Then take a look at your thumb. Is it like a claw thumb? Just try and extend your thumb, finding length in it. And release this, shake it out. One more. You'll bring a palm face up and then fingers down towards the ground. Take the other hand and pull the fingers in towards you. You might feel this one into your forearm. Now if you tend to hyperextend, so the like elbow pit lifts up higher than the back of the elbow, to make a slight bend, just a tiny bend at the elbow, but keep that stretch. And you'll get more stretch in your muscle with that. And then if you don't hyperextend, it won't make any difference. Okay, release, shake it out. And then we've got the other arm. So left arm straight in front of you, palm face down, pull the fingers back towards your face, down towards the ground, and then take your right hand and pull them back down towards the face. Soften that left shoulder down, breathe. Shake it out. Now still palm face down, lift your fingers towards the sky and pull them back. Soften the front creases of your wrists and work within your range. All right, last one, palm face up and fingers down towards the ground, pull them back. Remember to make a micro bend at your elbow if you hyperextend, and you might feel this one all the way down into your forearm. All right, release, shake it out. Bring your palms to touch right at the sternum. And then here, press the heels of your hands down towards the ground until you feel them lock. Soften your shoulders and press the palms in towards one another. Feel the muscles of your hands meeting. And as you continue to press, can you feel the bones of your hands meeting? Just a few breaths here. Soften the top shoulders. And release. Shake it out. All right, this next one is my very favorite one. So I'll come close to the camera so you can see. Start with your right thumb. Grab the tip of your thumb and then trace it all the way down, feeling for the bone, which you'll feel is hard and long, until you get right to the root of the thumb. Okay, and then from there, imagine that your finger, your thumb is like clay that can be molded and stretched, and very slowly pull the finger that's pinching out to the end of the thumb, gently tractioning the thumb. Give the thumb tip a little tug, and then release. Okay, we'll do that for every finger. So next finger, your index finger, trace it from the tip all the way down. So you're really pinching the top and the bottom, not pinching hard, but you're grabbing onto it. Then when you find the end of that metacarpal, like clay that you're stretching, you'll draw that finger all the way out, give the tip a little tug, and then release. So middle finger, tracing it all the way down, and then tractioning it out past every knuckle. A little tug, and release. Ring finger, all the way down. Traction it out. Tug, and release. And the pinky finger. I know this stuff can be kind of tedious, but think about all the things that your hands do for you. And this is just a chance to breathe and pay attention. Now here's the beauty of this. Just bring your hands back to your lap, close your eyes, and notice the difference between the right and left hand. All the way up the arm into the shoulder, and maybe even into the neck and jaw. Okay, now I'll do the second side. Tedious work. You've got a cute cat to look at and your hands to pay a lot of attention to. So first we start from the tip of the thumb, trace it all the way down to the first knuckle, and then slowly traction. When you get to the very tip of the thumb, give it a little tug and release. Index finger, same thing. Think about that clay. Just molding the clay, tractioning your fingers. Middle finger. And any one of these exercises and stretches that we're doing in class today would be good for like a 30-second break in the middle of your workday or in your free time if you enjoy Instagram or phone time. Give your hand some love. Should be on the ring finger by now. And the pinky finger. And when you're done, both hands to your lap. Take a few breaths. All right, we've got one last exercise, which with the hands before we finish up. So again, I'm just going to be breathing and stretching here. This one I like to do, well, anytime really. Definitely this is the one I go to the most often. So we'll start bringing just your right hand out in front of you. We'll start with the pinky finger. Take the pinky finger, pull it straight back towards the back of the hand. And depending on how comfortable you are in wrist flexion, you might also flex the wrist quite a lot. Keep a bend in the elbow and take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. And then change to your ring finger, same thing, pull it back. I love the feeling of my skin stretching on the palms of my hands. Sometimes it almost feels like itchy. Middle finger. I'm just taking one deep breath every finger. Index finger now. This is also a good way to slow yourself down if you're in the middle of a frenzy. So the thumb moves in two directions. So the first we'll pull it straight back like we were doing with the other fingers. Okay, and then we'll pull it straight out, away from the index finger. So you make the pad of the thumb and index finger bigger, longer. And release. Shake that wrist out, and when you're ready, change sides. Elbow stays bent, pinky finger, deep breath in, deep breath out. Ring finger. And here you'll notice that we're stretching the hand and the opposite shape of phone claws, of mouse pad, of track pad, of keyboard. Right, so sometimes, honestly, self-care, physical self-care is just as simple as figuring out the opposite movement than you do all day and getting your body into that shape in a way that feels good. I hope you're still moving through all your fingers. I don't think that you've become so interested in what I'm saying that you've forgotten to move through this slow practice. We'll finish up with the thumb in two directions, straight back, and then out to the side. All right, shake it out. Interlace your fingers, flip your palms away from you, and stretch your arms out in front of you. Take a look at your thumbs. Try to get your thumbs straight. Lengthen them from that root joint that you found just now, all the way out to the thumb tips. And I notice that my right hand, which is my dominant hand, my thumb is way more crooked than the left, and that's part of the reason we need this work. Our bodies just kind of form habits with what we do regularly with them. All right, release that, shake it out. And one last time, we'll open up the upper back, okay? So bring the elbows together behind you, point your tailbone down towards the chair, and then reach your collarbones from midline out to the edge of the shoulders. Take a deep breath in, relax your jaw and your neck. Then place the other forearm on top and take another few deep breaths. And one last thing before we finish up, interlace your fingers behind your head so that with these heels of your hands, you're sort of holding on to the base of your skull. Pull your elbows towards one another in front of you, and feel your head heavy in your hands. Begin to lift your skull off of the top vertebrae with your hands and tip backwards, taking a bit of a back bend at your upper back. So the top of your sternum lifts up towards the sky, and then check back in with your low back. Point your tailbone down towards the chair. So we're not arching in the low back, we're trying to get that back bend in the upper back. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, come back to center, release your hands to your lap. And just for the last minute of class, place both feet on the floor directly underneath your knees hip width distance apart. Bring your palms to face one another, pinky fingers down on your legs. Roll your shoulders back and down, line them up over your hips, and bring your chin parallel to the earth. Close your eyes and notice. Notice your neck, your shoulders. Notice down the length of your dominant arm into the forearms, wrist, hands, and fingers. And then notice down the length of your non-dominant arm, forearm, wrist, hand, and fingers. And blink your eyes open. And that's all for today. Thank you for joining me on this hand journey for phone claws. Please let me know if you have any questions.